there is no more speculation on Sony censoring specific content or what is allowed on their platforms and what is not, since they decided to finally address it the same day that the PlayStation 5 information was released. Trying to divert attention just a little, Sony? Full credit to the Wall Street Journal article for the statements from Sony officials. The article that I am referencing the statements from will be in the description. For the past nearly year or so, Sony has been cracking down on what they consider to be sexual content on the PlayStation 4, more so than their competitors Nintendo and Microsoft. And it has not always been this way. Nintendo used to be very strict on what types of content made it onto their platforms, and it is the other way around now. Nintendo said that they do not regulate sexual content beyond requiring game makers to obtain a rating from national bodies, and Microsoft actually decided to decline to comment on the situation. I think Nintendo is taking all of the right steps. They are trusting in the ESRB and what it is there for. The ESRB exists for there to be an industry standard, and they are trusting in the system that is in place, compared to Sony that is going above and beyond, and believing that they are going to do a better job with regulation, since they did say that they are creating their own rating system in a way. They did not give any more details, but they did say that they are taking things into their own hands. They now have their own guidelines and their own regulations. Once something has an ESRB rating, if you allow other games with the same ESRB rating on your platform, you should allow all games with the same ESRB rating on your platform. And at this point, we do know that these guidelines do affect games regardless of their age rating, since we have seen rated M for mature games receive censorship by Sony as well in recent times. Sony officials did say that there were a few factors last year that made them implement these new changes to protect the reputation of the company, one of the factors being the rise of the #MeToo movement, and another reason being the rise of channels on platforms such as YouTube and Twitch. And they believe that those games are ones that fit into Japanese standards, but not Western standards. And if someone was to broadcast these games, they would not be in good taste. They wouldn't be as socially accepted. Without getting into the topic any deeper, it is a shame that these sort of events that have happened are affecting people's creations. They affect any sort of artistic direction that is very controversial, or even what I would just call edgy. When it comes to art and creations, everyone can interpret things differently, but some people can get very set off when they do not agree with a specific thing, and then, of course, that creates controversies. If it's not harming you or anyone around you, then learn to just accept that someone might view it differently than you. They also have gone so far as to say that it is due to the kids. A Sony spokesperson did confirm that the company does have its own guidelines and that they follow at this point in time so that creators can offer well-balanced content on the platform, and gaming does not inhibit the sound growth and development of young people. And of course, they did not discuss what these guidelines were in detail. They gave no further information on these guidelines. They just threw in there the narrative that gaming is bad for young audiences. What studies are you referencing in regards to gaming does not inhibit the sound growth and development of young people? The chief executive of a smaller game development outlet in Japan said that you do not know what they will allow until you complete the work and submit it for review. And if they are not happy, even if they allowed the same degree of sexuality a few days before, we need to take it back and ask our staff to make adjustments. That's very costly. Japanese developers believe they are being unfairly targeted with new policies, and it is very costly. If a path continues like this for developers that try to approach Sony, it will get to the point where none of these developers will approach Sony anymore. They will go elsewhere with their creations. But many developers that create games that are receiving censorship would have been highlighted and would highlight the fact that they were on the PlayStation. Developers used to go straight to Sony because they knew that their games would be allowed on their platforms, and that is just not the way that it is anymore. Times have changed. These games will be the victims of arts and crafts projects by Sony. Certain scenes will be cut out, something new will be cut and pasted in, some won't even be replaced, and some will be colored over and censored, and I do not want an arts and crafts game. I want a game the way that it was made to be. And with all of this being discussed in an article that went up the same day as news that the PlayStation 5 was released, I just feel like they really wanted this to slip under the radar. They needed to rip the band-aid off of bad news, but they wanted to find the best time to do it, and now was the best time to do so, when they could bury all of that talk under good news for the next console they'll want you to buy. That is the end of the video, you guys. I hope that you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to give it a like, and of course, if you did not, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either which way, but I hope that you all enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys again really soon.